Welcome to season 2 of On the Spot. At On the Spot, we discuss the issues.
Africa is known for the beautiful art of storytelling. It is a way of passing on traditions, codes of behavior, and maintaining social orders. It is also a huge part of our culture. Unfortunately, over the years, Africa has lost much of this. My guest tonight is a multi-talented award-winning artist determined to keep this art alive. He is a Sierra Leonean UK-based hip-hop artist, African storyteller, motivational speaker, and philanthropist. Well, I caught up with him in the beautiful Arboretum right in the heart of London. This is On the Spot with me, Stella. Welcome. Hello, Alim.
How are you?
Alim Kamara.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me, and it's amazing having you on the spot.
I appreciate it.
So, Alim Kamara, you are a man of many things, many colors.
I'm aiming to reduce the titles.
I know. And you've done quite well. That your name precedes you. Now, I'm going to start from the basics. Mm-hmm. Alim Kamara.
Yes.
How did it all start for you?
For me, started off being born in the UK, and then moved back to Sierra Leone when I was around 2, and got to go to the village of Binti up in the North Province, where my grandfather, Mami Rasin Wuri, would tell us stories. And family members around would tell us stories as well, and it was always my favorite time. So that's where it began for me, I feel. And he called me Alim, and Alim actually means all-knowing truth or scholar. So he gave me something to work towards, in the sense of being a student of life and passing on what I learned.
Storytelling, it's an art that, unfortunately, Africa is losing, but you're holding on to it for some reason.
Yes.
And for a lot of young people, it's something they don't find interesting. Why is it so important to you, storytelling?
So just to jump off the back of what you said, it's young people, especially today, there is a way things are delivered. And so when we're delivering storytelling, it's known as something that is very animated, something you feel passionate about, and that comes across in the storytelling that I do. And so it started off, when I started storytelling, I was seeing the impact that it was having and remembering the impact that it had on me. This is something that needs to be kept alive and something that needs to be passed on.
I remember when I was much younger, I usually watch on TV, and even my grandmother as well, would all come sit down, and then there's always stories, the elephants, and how the tortoise broke its back, and the morals behind this story.
Right.
I can say to a large extent shaped me, into who I am today. Do you think, going back to Sierra Leone and taking into context the current situation with young people, the discussion people are having on the ground, do you think this is a part of the reason that children are probably not taught at an early age a lot of the stories? They're not reminded the morals of life in itself. Do you think that's why Sierra Leone is probably where it is today?
Definitely, because when we look at people who are known as the Griots or the Jallis, these are history keepers, wise men, musicians, poets, preachers, and their mission was to inspire and preserve the tradition. So they would arrive at ceremonies, they would arrive at the markets, and they would tell stories and they would sing, and these were reminders, they were anchors for us to be better in society and remember who we are. So speaking about things that have happened in the past, speaking about things that are currently happening, blessing people with words, these were things which they kept our community and society together. So of course, if that's missing, then who do we look to? We're going to look at other people's stories. So of course we look to the Western world and see their stories. So we run and strive to be like Westerners instead of looking in the mirror and saying, actually, you're an African.
Now, you're not only a storyteller, you're a hip hop artist.
Yes.
Now, you're one of very few people who can, you wear many hats. Where did music come into play for you? How did you discover that?
So imagine leaving Sierra Leone, coming to London. There's no more fireplace. There's no more elders telling these stories. So I was looking for that element of tradition, and it had evolved into this thing called rap, rhythm and poetry. And my cousin introduced me to hip hop. So I'm talking about KRS-One, NWA, Tupac Shakur. And it was storytelling, but in a modernized form. Right. It was on rhythms, it was on beats, it was timed, it was 16 bars, and it was current to where I was. So we, growing up, were looking for somewhere to fit in. And hip hop was something that allowed us to be able to fit in and feel like we were wanted. Well, we're talking about walking down the road, somebody throwing a banana, to ridicule us as individuals, or police stopping us on the corner of the streets just to harass us or whatever it was. So you never felt like you belonged, and hip hop gave us that sense of belonging. And what would happen is, this time I wasn't storytelling, so I was performing. I started writing my own music. And then when I went to university in the last year, my lecturer said to me, why don't I do a storytelling module? I didn't even know that it existed. And when I went to do the module, I chose to do a traditional story by a character known as Anansi, or some people know him as Brass Spider. Nobody had heard of Brass Spider, Anansi, and it was at that moment I said, wow, Donald Duck, Mickey Mouse, these guys have all taken over what I remember as the traditional storytelling. And they often say, when you look in the mirror, you think about a problem and you look in the mirror, it often means that you're part of the solution. So then it became a case of, I was telling this one story everywhere I was going, and the demand came more and more. I said, wow, this is really something. And it almost like picked me. I said, you're now one of the people responsible for keeping the tradition alive.
How have you been able to maintain that, given the fact that, of course, you've stayed briefly for about 4 years, thereabout 4 or 5 years, lived in Sierra Leone, and basically all your life you've lived in the UK here. How have you been able to maintain that connection? How have you been able to even understand a lot of the culture and the practices? Because one would say 4 or 5 years is probably not enough to understand all about Sierra Leone.
I'd say my mum. My mum would take us to the functions. We would have somebody pray from the Islamic side, somebody from the Christianity side. We would wear the attire, which when we were younger, we didn't like. We wanted to wear Versace, we wanted to wear Nike, and you're telling me this is made by Alaji. Who is Alaji?
Alaji.
So it was, but my mom just stuck to that firmness of continuing to take us to these functions, speaking the language, and of course the food. I mean, you can go chicken and burger till you tire.
I know.
But when you come home and that cassava leaf is there, you know you wouldn't change it for anything. So these were the little things that made the difference in what I represent today and what I stand as a Sierra Leonean, proud because of a
Sierra
queen.
Leonean. proud Sierra Leonean. Well, of course, we'll still continue the conversation. This is On the Spot. If you're just joining me, I am with Alim Kamara. If you do not know him, well, please just right now Google Alim Kamara and get all the information. But he's here and he's going to be sharing all that information with us here. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back. Stay tuned.
I'm now writing my story. Recently, somebody asked me, they said, what is your goal or dream? I said, I'm living it. And here I am in Mexico, eating tacos. What is the greatest story ever told? This is a copy of the greatest story ever told. The greatest story ever told. Your story is a powerful story.
Domestic revenue mobilization is a key instrument for the government of Sierra Leone in reducing poverty, increasing financial independence, achieving middle-income status, and charting the path for new directions. From supporting the free quality education, good roads, healthcare, electricity, and more.
Domestic revenue mobilization is very critical when it comes to national development.
Through the Asikoda world, we have developed beautiful management tools. We have also developed systems in which it will bring transparency and help to the importer, to the broker.
iTax is a platform for all your domestic taxes. The electronic cash register system is the game changer.
Let's support government by paying our taxes. For more information, visit the nearest NRA office or log on to our website www.nra.gov.sl.
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Abu. I am calling for your rental tax payment.
Oh my goodness.
Hello? This is a call from the...
Your colleague is on the other line. Can you just please hold?
You are a landlord or property agent. You don't hear about rental income tax. As property owner or agent where they collect rent, the law say you for pay tax and you tax identification number where they call team you they use for pay am.
Yes, me fumble them. The law say without this tax identification number, you not go able to pay your tax. And if you not pay your tax, the law go bet you tranga one. Welcome, sir. Please sit.
Thank you.
We don't make them easy for you now. The law say, since you the collect rent we pass 7.2 million leons, you for come to NIA and pay your rental tax just after where your tenants don't pay you done.
So no more calls from everywhere, eh?
You go just get one SMS or one phone call. We go remind you, sir.
Thank you very much.
For no more, go to any NIA office near you or visit www.nia.gov.sl.
Remember, paying taxes is required by law.
Mr. Rabbit came to Tortoise and he says, Tortoise, let's have a race. He says, today I am going to show you how useless you are. And Tortoise said, really? He says, of course, let us have a race. Tortoise said, where are we going to race to? He says, let us race to our houses. Let us see who's the first to get inside his house. And Mr. Tortoise said, no problem. Rabbit stood here, Tortoise stood there, and all the animals gathered. And they started, onto your marks, set, voila! As they fired the gun, Rabbit jumped high. He started running, and he ran and he ran. He looked behind. He looked. Tortoise was in his shell.
Yo,
While small I been stronger, yes. So me uncle be they woke me can now what up on me face. Can't broke na me back all. Wait here not able. Grass wheel na free tongue with all man be fumble. I see me papa one time before then dreb am. You know say half pints don't get mud, so I set am. Imagine that image they 30 day fast in me mind. Wait back something that make a begin right. So I can tell the story for the blind. So I can pull the pay when they haunt me when sin them begin turn fine. The advantage part with sister the way we always see. But if you talk then they make it that they know you pant up that time they afraid say they go dreb am and sleep. But this fear just to make rape they spread like disease. Ah, me man this life. You know easy, but if you for them not for tin up like the ground they broke. When I remember when we started, been a watch Finapala, we been a pray, Allah. Do I carry go now with man because they look mete. When we kaya, we find out say they don't like we say. Me tem come, I been small so request. Buy me gold, buy me crepe, t-shirt, anything else. The mommy been they walk like dog, wear apron and gloves. I get on the list, Gatwick, Tamina North. It just swear and I beat me, man, I confused first. Where you paddy not understand, not so mommy cost. You see, we been listening, England was made of gold. La hilana day we cancer be sick and cold. One I can flash we, sometimes we can shame or call back. We self can feel us so when we not get the cash. Ah, me man is life. You know easy yo, but if you fall down na 14 up like the ground they broke. Come on.
Welcome back. This is On the Spot. Now, in case I did not mention, this is On the Spot in London series, and means that I'll be bringing you a lot of amazing people right here in London, amazing Sierra Leoneans doing great things. So Alim Kamara is still here with me, and he is an amazing storyteller. And by the way, he is very handsome. He didn't hear that, but he's an amazing storyteller, and he is a hip hop artist. He's also a philanthropist, and he works with young people. And I mean, I could go on with the list, but let me now ask a question. How have you been able to piece, first of all, the music and the art of storytelling? How have you been able to put that together? Because like you mentioned, rap is rhythm and poetry. So there's a bit of poetry.
That's right.
In your work.
Yeah.
All three of them, how have you been able to piece them all together?
So doing hip hop, I would go to poetry events to perform my hip hop. But poetry events are not really set up for a hip hop performer. So when the music wasn't very great, I say, I'll cut the music, let me deliver an a cappella. So that's music lyrics without the music and the rhythm in the back. So then people would then see me later and say, oh, you're that poet from this event. And I'm like, no, I'm not a poet, I'm a rapper. Like really trying to hold on to the title. And now I just see as they are one and the same. If I go to a corporate event, then I would deliver my storytelling element. If I go to a club setting and I'm with the live band, then I'm performing hip hop. But in a sense, it's all storytelling. So for me, it's one and the same, but they're different formats. That's how I look at it.
Now you've been able to perform in various events. I remember watching one on TEDx, and I found that quite powerful. And in the process of telling your story, you also share the Sierra Leone culture. For you, is that really the essence of why you do storytelling?
Yeah, I have to say to people, when I'm telling stories, it's a reminder to myself. So I don't just tell stories just to preach. These stories were, they're in a sense reference points or anchor points for us to be able to contribute towards society in a better way. So for me, that's what storytelling represents. And I'm an African. You look at me and you'll be able to say there's something about you that is African. I'm Sierra Leonean. That's something that's, like I said, walks with me wherever I go. And so when I'm in schools and I'm delivering to the children, it's about sharing that culture so that we can tackle xenophobia, so that we can tackle the stigmas that they so constantly face on TV, for example. And I want it to be a case where when I'm even traveling internationally, that the next time somebody meets somebody from an African country, that they don't have this perception in their mind of what lies have been told to them. So for me, it's saying, look, I have this beautiful culture and I would love to tell you about it and share it with you. And often it is so well received.
And you did the same as well with your music. Your last album was in 2014.
Yes.
The Great Man.
The Great Man.
The Great Man.
Yeah. I once heard a man say, you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started in order to be great. Let's go. I'm crossing off all I told my ex about, shining through blackouts, storms and doubts. Oprah's girl, I just wanna win free. Toe sip it, I came up cocky, trapped by sirens, leapt over fences. I never done it, but you're guilty when you hang with. Hustle where I'm from, you don't wish. I made tapes just to rap my gift. If that leak from the ceiling don't wake you, recognition like 9 months and I'm due. I know a flow and let them know I can adapt too. Hunger just knows when you're sick of bread and soup. You can take it or leave it, I'm gone, we made it. She knows my bars but barely speaks English. Y'all see the sacrifice, I'm killing it. On the mic 23, back on it.
Baby, I don't tell you say I go make come. Now me picking kisses. If Papa was a great man. Baby, I don't tell you. Look food at the table. We are here to leave a legacy. I told you I got you. I told you I got you. I told you I got you. I told you I got you.
The Great Man.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that album, what that album really meant to you.
So first of all, the title, The Great Man, people thought that I was talking about myself. Like I was saying, I am great.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, there's the song Great Man, it's like, baby, I not tell you say I go make now me picking can say me papa was a great man. So this is the story about anybody that strived to get something or be somewhere and made it and is able to look at their family and say, look, didn't I tell you that I was gonna make it? And that's what the Great Man represents. And it's an EP, and even in the EP people are like, hey, but Alim, you need to work with more Sierra Leoneans. I'm like, the album is produced by Silverstone and Delirious, who are both Sierra Leonean, and it features K Child, who is also a Sierra Leonean. So I'm like, I work with Sierra Leoneans, but you just probably haven't heard.
That's actually going to bring me to my next question.
Yeah.
How many home-based, Sierra Leoneans have you worked with, and how much of that do you want to embark on as you move forward? Because there are more albums and more work that's going to come out.
Cool. So I have worked with Shadow Boxer,
okay,
the dopest MCs, Hayden Adama, amazing singer, and recently just collaborated with Slim G.
Okay.
Now I'll probably get in trouble for what I'm about to say.
Okay.
The thing about what we have to start doing as Sierra Leoneans is maintaining a level of quality in what we do and what we put out, because it represents. So people might turn around and say, oh, you're only working with the selected few. There are people that look at me and will work with me for whatever reason it may
Yeah.
be, whether it's to do with lyrics, whether it's to do with how I carry myself, and vice versa. In terms of who I work with, it's about encouraging, supporting each other, but let it be a case where we're pushing each other towards a level of greatness. Now, if we're doing, say for instance, mentorship, then of course we have to help and encourage the young people. And one of the things I love about, remember, we used to watch a lot of Kung Fu films back in the day. And the beautiful thing of Kung Fu films is the students were always humble. The master will, or the teacher will beat them, but they knew that they had to train in order to get to a particular level. So I've noticed that when it comes to, and this is, I don't know if it's on purpose, but there's a quality and standard that I hope that my peers, like for instance, someone like Shadow, to work with someone like Shadow, jump on a song with Shadow, you better bring your A game, because the man can speak, he can drop lyrics. So when I'm coming on as an MC, I need to make sure I'm bringing my A game to the table, and that is what we want the reflection of Sierra Leone to be.
Okay. All right. So before I ask my next question, we're going to go for a quick break and we'll be back. This is On the Spot. But coming up next is the video of the week. We'll be back.
Domestic revenue mobilization is a key instrument for the government of Sierra Leone in reducing poverty, increasing financial independence, achieving middle income status, and charting the path for new directions. From supporting the free quality education, good roads, healthcare, electricity, and more.
Domestic revenue mobilization is very critical when it comes to national development.
Through the Asikoda World, we have developed beautiful management tools. We have also developed systems in which it will bring transparency and help to the importer, to the broker.
iTax is a platform for all your domestic taxes. The electronic cash register system is the game changer.
Let's support government by paying our taxes. For more information, visit the nearest NRA office or log on to our website www.nra.gov.sl.
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Abu. I am calling for your rental tax payment.
Oh my goodness.
Hello? This is a call from the...
Your colleague is on the other line. Can you just please hold?
You are a landlord or property agent? You don't hear about rental income tax? As property owner or agent where they collect rent, the law say you for pay tax and are you tax identification number where they call team you they use for pay am.
Yes, me fumble them. The law say without this tax identification number, you not go able to pay your tax. And if you not pay your tax, the law go bet you tranga one. Welcome, sir. Please sit.
Thank you.
We don't make them easy for you now. The law say, since you the collect rent we pass 7.2 million leons, you for come to NIA and pay your rental tax just after we your tenants don't pay you done.
So no more calls from everywhere.
You go just get one SMS or one phone call. We go remind you, sir.
Thank you very much.
For no more, go to any NIA office near you or visit www.nia.gov.sl.
Remember, paying taxes is required by law.
And all I could do was listen on in silence as she told her story. At the tender age of 13, Khadija placed a nightmare before me. Woken up by tattered, wrapped in bandanas, AK-47 shouted at the heavens. The capital, Freetown, was under attack. Bullets flew, people bled, occupied houses were burnt to the ground. Rusty machetes hacked off limbs. The Revolutionary United Front was raping and killing. Victims of a senseless war triggered off by nothing more than greed, politics, and diamonds galore. It amazed her as to why salvation took so long, when she knows that you heard the cries of orphans in a storm, pregnant women carved open, terror explosions, hiding in stench gutters, praying whilst playing dead, so close to corpses, you saw flies settle, rubbing together their tarsus. I want the world to hear your cry, look through your eyes and feel your pain. Imagine. Fear was tangible amongst victims, so Khadija had to trek alert from rebel children who were drugged and fed gunpowder, forced to become youth assassins, mingling with those seeking a haven. Khadija's mother held her close. On this day, they couldn't help but notice managers, nuns, priests, executives, the homeless were all made equal in emotions, poverty, and status. I quote, in some strange way it made us. Muslims were stopping in their tracks, laying down mats to pray. Many old folk, quick to the sun's blazing ray, fell to the roadside, died anonymous and filled with hate. Lack of water, drinking urine to survive another day. You couldn't relate to what these people lost. To have it all taken away. What's the cost? Western weapons, exchanged for minerals. These imbeciles run the land into poverty. Elected leaders who care nothing for its casualty. I want the world to hear your cry, look through your eyes and feel your pain. Imagine. Across the field, they saw trucks approaching, started celebrating. But they were far from any type of saving. Surrounded by rebels, anybody who runs, fatal. Evil had found its evil and was hushing the screams of people. That's when they took Khadija hostage. Her mother pleaded, so they snatched her by the hair and told Khadija, do it. A life for a life, she cries, quaking with a blade in her hand. When she refused, they shot her mother in the chest and left the rest up to death.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that video. Imagine. That's quite intense. What was the story behind that?
It's based on a true story, conversation about Khadija and what she faced during the war in Sierra Leone. And having the platform that I have, I think that it's important that we tell our stories, as well as telling traditional stories, that we also tell the biographical stories and the historical stories. So imagine having that conversation and then you're thinking to yourself, wow, this is somebody who may never be heard. And like yourself, it's how do we use our platform to be able to say, nah, the world needs to hear about this and acknowledge. And so Khadija was about, telling that story of a young girl who faced a lot in her life, in her young life.
Yeah. Well, you can get more of that on his YouTube channel or his website. And all you need to just do is search Alim Kamara and get to watch the full video of that. Really, really powerful. I think another another song of yours that I love is Dream. And, you know, I'm going to ask you this question. It's going to put you on the spot. Now, you did that song a few years ago, I think 2012. Do you think, with that song and where you are today, do you think you've probably been able to achieve your dream, or you're probably halfway there?
Yeah, somebody asked me, what's my dream? And I said, I'm living it. I get to travel the world telling stories. You have to understand, we come from backgrounds where if you're not a doctor, lawyer, engineer, you're wasting your life.
Yes.
But now to be able to, for my family to even see me saying, I'm a storyteller. The ancient traditional art of storytelling was like these people traveling and their payment often was food, little change here and there. I've turned this into something that I get paid to do by ministers, by presidents and schools. And so for me, it's like, this is such a blessing, and realizing the power of recognizing your identity. And when you know who you are, how my brother from another mother, Yusuf Ujalo, who I work closely with also, he's like, when you know who you are, you will be blessed. When you have that understanding of, I'm a child of the Creator, and when I walk with that pride. And so that's what I've been able to do. I've taken this art form, which Salon has blessed me with, and I'm traveling the world with it.
So as you talk about blessing, when are you going to bless us again? I know you've been releasing some singles after the album, but when are you going to bless us again with a new album?
2020.
What's in the work right now?
2020, because 2020 is about, perfect vision. Hey, so 2020, we're going to be delivering some material that we're working on right now. So as soon as I get back off tour, it's straight into the studio.
What should people expect? What sort of stories? What sort of message, would your album be touching on? What would it be speaking about?
So this time we're going to get more personal.
Okay.
Yeah. This time we're going to get more personal with the tracks that I'm going to be sharing. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So it will because I think that with the songs that I've released, I've probably, I don't want to say played it safe, but kept it more exterior, outside. Whereas now it's like, okay, you want to know Alim Kamara? Let me tell you a bit more.
A bit more.
Yeah.
So as we talk about a bit more, there are a lot of young people who are watching you right now and probably thinking, maybe I want to be an artist like yourself, or I want to go into storytelling, and they're wondering, how do I get started? What do I do? What would you advise them?
You have everything that you need to start your journey. And I will start with, as a rapper, as a storyteller, the first thing you have is you have a pen and paper. Start writing your lyrics down. And then a lot of people now have phones. Start recording yourself on your phone and putting it out.
Put it out.
Yeah. As a storyteller, you want to be a storyteller. Start speaking to elders or other people that tell stories or that know stories, and then learn and practice, even if it's just one story. So the idea behind looking at a big dream, what people don't realize is that you have to take small steps to be able to achieve those dreams, but also not just small steps, but small consistent steps. I'll tell you a quick story, if you don't mind. So when I say story, it's a story. So there's a story about this snail, and this snail is crossing the road, but it takes 2 years just to cross the road. The snail was slow. As the snail got to the other side, a tree fell, landed, and it just missed the snail. The snail turned around. It took him about 2 weeks just to turn around. And said, phew, it sure is good to be fast. And I tell that story in schools. And I say to the children, was the snail slow? And they say, yeah. I say, why? I say, it's a snail. I said, but the tree missed it. And the idea behind that story is that we all move at our own pace. We all move at different paces. And so when you recognize that somebody might look like they're ahead of you, no, just focus on what it is you are doing at that moment in time. Don't worry about anybody else. What you're doing, that's your time. And so it's like what did they say? It's like the bamboo shoots, which can be underground, can take, is it 5 years? I believe, I might have this wrong, but it's you see nothing on the surface. And then when it pops up, within 5+ weeks, it will shoot up high. So you keep on, I'm going to look to the camera, you keep on working on your craft, developing what it is that you have. And know that you will be blessed with that. Believe in it and keep on being consistent in it.
Now,
So that would be my
as you
advice.
as you talk about blessing, I know you work a lot with young people.
Yeah.
You know, you've had a lot of sessions, even in schools where you're talking to young people. Is there any particular reason why your focus is on school-going children? And do we expect to see you come into Sierra Leone and engage in the kids as well, as you do here in the UK?
Yes, the young people have not been contaminated. They haven't been poisoned. They haven't been influenced in a way which keeps their mind stuck. Their mind is still open to learning. And it's about getting to them before somebody can take advantage
Of them.
and saying, hey, you're beautiful, you're powerful, you're strong, you're blessed. And here are some tools that you can use to go forth in life. So for me, that's what I've been doing in London and around the world.
Yeah.
And I have had the opportunity to go to Sierra Leone and do work out there, but I would definitely want to do more. It's about connecting with the right people, with the right structural. You see how I'm rising when I say that? Organizations
Yes.
that are about committing to long-term impact, rather than we turn up, you know, in big 4x4s.
Yeah.
We drop some sweets off and then we leave. Which
It's about impact.
It's cool, but it's too short term. So definitely, if I can find the right organization, or I get to a point where I can do that, that's something I would love to be able to do.
Now, I'm sure that, you know, people watching and individuals and institutions, and they may be interested in having you over. They'll, you know, be it maybe here in the UK or in Sierra Leone, and they'd like to work with you. How do they go about that? Is there like a special process to work with Alim?
It's their social process. I think it's like what you're saying about forming that institution.
Yeah.
Once that institution is created, then it would, because you could get me into trouble here, because I might get people like messaging me and be like, I want to work with you, and I'll be like, hey. But I think it's about one of the reasons why maybe I haven't gone over. So there is this thing called learn knowledge, activity, practice knowledge, teach knowledge. Often what we do is we learn knowledge and then we want to go and straight away teach it.
Teach it, yeah.
So in order for me to be able to pass on what I do, I need to learn it, actively practice it,
yeah.
and then be able to go and teach it. And that's so important for me, so that when I'm sitting and I'm being questioned by young people, or I'm delivering, that I teach them in a way where it's like, do more than I did.
Yeah.
So when I pass on the baton, it's like, you can't do what I did at my level. You need to come better than I did.
All right. Well, anyway, we're still going to put all your contacts. I know people want to reach out.
The
People
social
want to
media,
follow
Alim Kamara,
you.
everything, alimkamara.com. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I could go on. I could have you here and just continue the conversation, but of course, I can't do that. I just want to say thank you.
Can I stop you and say thank you to you, because for highlighting and creating a platform where somebody would be like, oh, you don't know Alim Kamara. It's like, the salon's a big place.
Yeah.
But for you allowing us to be able to have this platform for more people to know about what we do is so important and appreciated. So thank you.
And thank you too for the work you do. You know, storytelling is very powerful. We unfortunately have lost that. And I think it's probably part of the problem we're facing as a country and as a nation. And the more of that we have, the more people that are willing to tell that story. You know, there's always that saying, catch them young.
Yes.
And the more people like you we have,
us,
passing
like
that,
us.
like us.
Yes,
like us. The more people like us passing that story and passing that knowledge, and I think the better Sierra Leone will become.
Definitely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I know that you have a lot planned. Do we let the cat out of the bag?
Go on.
Yeah, I know that you have like tours, and then of course there is the album. Help me out here.
So we've got the tour coming up. That's going to be March and April, doing a European tour.
Okay.
And then we've got the album coming out. And then we've also got some storytelling material coming out as well.
Okay.
And I'm expanding the team in regards to what we do in the schools, etc. So yeah, I think that's enough for people to digest in the kind time.
Okay. Well, we'll continue to follow you, and I know we'll definitely have you back here on the spot. And you just be telling us all the good news, because it's going to be bigger, it's going to be better, and it's going to be amazing. So thank you so much, Alim. We wish you all the best. And again, thanks for coming. This is On the Spot, and I've been speaking to Alim Kamara, who is everything from a storyteller to a hip-hop artist to a philanthropist to everything. Anyway, this is On the Spot. We'll take a break and we'll be back.
I need to know. I can't help it anymore. And off Baboon runs. Welcome, yes, to Story, where we share stories to inspire greatness and preserve tradition. My name is Alim Kamara, your griot/storyteller. Today's story takes place in the Kalahari Desert. You know the Kalahari Desert in the southern Africa? Well, obviously, man is there and man is feeling very, very thirsty. And man is thinking, man, I need to go and get some water. Baboon knows where the water is. Did you know that there are 5 different types of baboon? And one of them is called Hammer Dry Ass. Well, baboon knows where the water is, but baboon does not want to tell man. No, because baboon is thinking, if I tell you, man, you will finish all the water. So man had to come up with a plan. So here's what man did. Man went to a ant heap where the ant colony man them, that's where they jam. And what man did, man started to make a hole inside the ant heap. Now baboon is watching and he's thinking, what's man doing? I know he's up to something. See, baboon is very, very nosy and he's looking, what's man doing? And meantime, man knows that baboon is watching, and what he does, he gets some melon seed and he puts them inside a small tiny hole, and then he shoves them inside with a stick. And as he's pushing it, baboon is standing far away. And so man continues to push the seed inside, and as he pushes the seed, they drop inside a hollow space. And then man leaves, and man is tin, and he's looking to see, making sure that baboon has seen. And he walks off, and man goes and hides. And there man is sitting down, waiting, thinking, come on baboon, I know you're going to go. And baboon is there. What is there? I need to know. I can't help it anymore. And off baboon runs into the ant heap. And he takes his small tiny hand and he puts it inside the hole and grabs the seeds. And oh my God, the seed inside. Oh, you see, now because baboon has made his hand into a fist, he can't get out of the hole. And man sees this, and man starts to run to baboon. Now what should baboon do? Let go of the seeds, right? But no, baboon is greedy and he won't let go of the seeds. And it's, oh, come on. And just as he's thinking, what can I do? Man grabs baboon. And by that time he pulls him out, ties him up. And guess what he now does? He now feeds him with salt. And baboon is thinking, this salt is delicious. He even forgets that he's tied up. This is yummy, this is delicious. Man leaves baboon, goes away, comes back the next day, looks at baboon. Yes, you look very thirsty now. And with that, he releases baboon. When baboon is thinking, oh, that's salt, now I need some water. And baboon begins to run because baboon knows where the water is. And what does man do? Man follows. Man follows baboon, runs. And baboon goes to the river.
and who is behind, not far away. Man, making sure that he can also have some of that delicious water. So remember, sometimes you need to let go because that greediness will get you into trouble. Story.
Alim Kamara, we did come. Hey, the two of us should soak in a hot tub. It's been a long day, time for us to unplug. We a dangerous team, we go broke raw. I can't make this up, you wanna come to? I was a nappy head down, I never hash. Now if when I see where this one Afro-romantic, you got me in this pool with a cue stick, opening up borders together like a quilt zip. Remember they put me last with the club lights. Man be they feel shame, still I rock like roses, red candles, always get the mood right. Chose king size, yet queens always on my side.
I saw her coming, but I want her to let me in. Tonight we cross the line, now I'll give you something. Fine baby, but come now. Fine baby, but come now. How you the mix up? We are two no say you done so. I saw her coming, but I want her to let me in. Tonight we cross the line, now I'll give you something. Fine baby, but come now. Fine baby, but come now. How you the mix up? We are two no for say you done so.
Hey, mind yourself, love can turn to addiction. Ever since I let her roll when I call shotgun. Taxi, take me to the friction. I want wine this black grape, take the juice come. Forever shopping, it has nothing to put on. Even after the 100th, what about this one? I'm giving you my undivided, do the math, hun. Red carpet stunting, looking all custom. Uncle said, where he begin, I like she wins. I said, but he said, see them land something. Would you argue she was cocoa butter bare skinned? I shook my head like I was in between the men.
I saw her coming, but I want her to let me in. Tonight we cross the line, now I'll give you something. Fine baby, but come now. Fine baby, but come now. How you the mix up? We are two no say you done so. I saw her coming, but I want her to let me in. Tonight we cross the line, now I'll give you something. Fine baby, but come now. Fine baby, but come now. How you the mix up? We are two no for say you done so. Looking at your body got me hypnotized. Looking at your body got me hypnotized.
In my final words, the art of storytelling is a tradition we all must keep alive in our families and homes. It brings together people and teaches the morals of life as it passes down our culture and tradition. This is very important now more than ever as we live in a world where social media and technology has created a great social disconnect between humans and the number of Africans losing touch with their roots. My guest has been able to skillfully fuse his passion for storytelling into a global craft that tells the African story whilst keeping this age-old tradition alive. Now, his success didn't come by chance or luck. It took a lot of hard work, consistency, and honing his craft. Attributes we all must learn if we are to succeed in whatever we do. And to you out there with a passion that may seem like a joke to many, go for it. And while at it, make sure you be the best that you can be. I hope that you enjoyed the conversation as much as I did. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel On The Spot with Stella to catch up on all our episodes. We'll love to hear from you on our website, www.onthespotwithstella.com. and of course on our various social media handles. Till next week, when I come back on your TV screen, stay fabulous.
Yeah. I once heard a man say, you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started in order to be great. Let's go. I'm crossing off all I told my ex about. Shining through blackouts, storms and doubts. Oprah's girl, I just wanna win free. Told sip it, I came up cocky. Trapped by sirens, leapt over fences. I never done it, but you're guilty when you hang with. Hustle where I'm from, you don't wish. I made tapes just to rap my gift. If that leak from the ceiling don't wake you, recognition's like 9 months and I'm due. I know a flow and let them know I can adapt too. Hunger just knows when you're sick of bread and soup. You can take it or leave it, I'm gone, we made it. She knows my bars but barely speaks English. They'll see the sacrifice, I'm killing it. On the mic 23, back on it.
Baby, I don't tell you say I go make come. Now me picking say, Papa was a great man. Baby, I don't tell you, look food at the table. We are here to leave a legacy. I told you I got you. 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 I told you I got you.
Yeah, I'm the fire on the mountain. It's no secret, I've known pain. Beside drama of an English, grades were lame. Even the comb struggle just to get through. Shame, fresh off the boat, man, if I'm drowning. I fought my way in, you see I'm still pushing. Swinging to the club, looking at Browning. How my debut, single, release him. This old chick keeps ringing me, I'm not alarmed. Fame's unstable, I'm on top of the bar. For this pole position lenses, I zoom. I'm the best man, no chrome. For that Green Day bucky your hair, not me, blast music here. We been on all fours like a square, yeah. Now I see roots in my circle reappear.
Baby, I don't tell you say I go make come. Now me picking say, Papa was a great man. Baby, I don't tell you, look food at the table. We are here to leave a legacy. I told you I got you. Shining now. Go tell my pinky say rain will never fall. Go tell mommy say we're moving in the big house. Everything is blessed, everything is alright now. Oh, oh, yeah, right now. Oh, oh, now me picking say, Papa was a great man. Baby, I don't tell you, look food at the table. We are here to leave a legacy. I told you I got you. 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 I told you I got you.